Things are going to start happening to me now.
You've done all the reading. You're a scholar. You're a professor. You've done all the reading. You've done the intellectual heavy lifting.
More or less, eat shit and die.
You wouldn't know a fact if it begged you all night long.
Want to give the wrong impression because I am very high.
Ran up behind him with a hatchet. Smash, smash, smash.
Yeah. Care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you. That
Libertarian Podcast Review. Oh no, LPR. It's going to be a while. We're going to break that cycle. Welcome. That's Josh Smith's show. Break the cycle. It's Tyler Yonke, everybody. Friday afternoon. I am doing something completely different here, folks. I'm going to try to, I'm producing the show in a different way. I'm using OBS into my StreamYard. It's maybe a wreck. I thought I had things down. I think we're going to be okay with it, but I'm just trying some new things because it's what I want to do with the Tower Gang. And so that's what we're going to have to do. People are in here. I'm glad Tyler let us hang out with him. Charles said, yes. Thanks everybody. JC's in there. Oh my God, Charles. And hey, JC. Hey, everybody. Welcome. We're going to do a quick Nick thing. And Shannon's also in here. Shannon, how you doing? Welcome. Let's see. This is this is my my stuff here. Slideshow. We're going to walk over this stuff. We got Rumble chat up here. I think that's okay. I have another camera that's just behind the beside that seed scene. Let's go. $5. Lincoln says, hey, bring it to Tyler. Hey, Chad, how you doing? If it's the Chadwick I think it is, give me a call. Let's get together. Okay. Friday afternoon. I don't have any drinks with me. I'm going out with my wife a little bit later, so I thought I would just do this. We're going to set in here. Now, let me set the scene real quick. Nick Rekieta, some of you know him as an attorney in Minnesota. He's had all kinds of problems. Let's see the foot cam. It's just here we go. So I've got multiple cams going. I've got this cam, then I have this camera. It's just a different webcam. And sometimes I take this camera here and I put it up back here, and then you can see the production side. And I think should we do that? Maybe I'll do that. Let's go. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to take this down here. You're going to see a little bit behind the scenes here, maybe. And then I got another hook up here. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so now there's my production. You can see my studio layout, how I have things going here. I tried to do the sidecar with another one. Didn't really work out so well. Anyway, so maybe I don't know. This is overproduction is what we've got going. Okay, so Nick Rekieta. Remember, Nick Rekieta is an attorney in Minnesota. He does a lot of YouTube stuff. People liked him. I liked him on Rittenhouse. We had a Rittenhouse video. I have trouble playing any videos right now to try to get onto the system here. So I'm still working out the kinks, okay? And I don't want to try to play a video and go, oh. But Rittenhouse, big case. Remember, he shoots some commies, some pedos, and then he was found not guilty. And it was a big thing for Nick Rekieta in his stream. And kind of blew up from there. And there was Johnny Depp and other stuff. And that was pretty interesting. Now, Rittenhouse comes out and he makes some comments that he wants to vote for, or he's going to write in for Dr. Ron Paul. And people are losing their shit. A cat turd. I mean, the typical boomer guy. I'm unfollowing you. It's like, okay, well, I mean, it wasn't his fault. And now he grifted off of the MAGA group, sure, but it wasn't his fault that he doesn't fall in line with your thinking of how he should be as some sort of hero, I guess. So, big deal. I mean, if it makes Donald Trump be better on the Second Amendment, then so be it. And then hopefully we'll have that. Speaking of Kyle Rittenhouse versus BoomerCon stuff today was pretty, yes. And then the Dom Lucra comes out and like, I'm going to expose you. And okay, whatever. Maybe we'll do a dive into that. Okay. Can we shout out Magoo for finally putting out a new Oh, he did. Magoo. And is it about, what is it about? What is it about, Magoo? What is it? Look at the production side here. Okay. Let's, there we go. There we go. Okay. I think we're going to do this. So Nick Rekieta blows up, blah, blah, blah. Then he has whole legal troubles. And to give you a recap of the legal troubles, it's right here. This is what it is. He was diddling Imholt, another chick, with her husband. They had some things going. They were doing drugs. He was wasted on camera. It was pretty ugly. You can kind of see here. You know what? I could. Let's do this. There you go. So there's a picture of Nick right there, not looking too pretty on screen. So anyway, Nick got caught. The cops came, arrested him, took his kids away. And so now there's a criminal thing. And then there's also this CPS family issue going on as well. There's documents being released. There was new documents. Now it was back before June, right before the end of May for this. And if you want, go to Legal Mindset. We did a show together. I talked about that, the significance of the family law. I've talked about it here a bunch of times. So you guys all know this. I'm just giving a recap in case there's something that comes up here. It's about the opening ceremony, Trump shooting, Biden backing out, the usual. Nice. I will check it out. By the way, and I say fuck a lot. Oh, and Shannon says very sad. I hope that's not over my goose thing. I had these guys online. Maybe I will look it up here. And it's what is the name of their show now? The baptizing machine, maybe it was. They said, hey, take a look at this show. And I'm like, okay. So I checked it out. It's horrible, but I loved it too. So I listened to a bunch of episodes last Sunday. I think I will do a review of them. They talk about pee a lot, which is downright disturbing, I think, in some sense. But there you go. Okay, so Nick Rekieta, let's get into it. There was some more stuff issued out here. This is the slideshow. There we go. I'm gonna have to. I don't think I want that camera with the slideshow. I don't think I want it. So you know what? We're gonna go back here. I'm gonna take this camera down. Okay. This is great television. And I use the iPhone. So if I got a Mac, you could use the iPhone for a camera, which works pretty well. I just hook it up there. And there you go. Boom. Just like that. Beautiful. All right. I don't know if that's so beautiful. Okay, let's do this slideshow. There we go. Okay, so this is a transcript. I hope you can read this. I redacted it. You don't need to read it because I'm going to read it. But we're going to walk through this. So this is in the matter of welfare of the children. Remember, the state took them, put them in foster care, tested one child, said she was positive for cocaine. And then there's this issue, the McKenna law, I want to say is something like that in Minnesota that allows 10-year-olds to get an attorney. So he's got kids are getting an attorney. Those kids can also attend court in juvenile court here. I think they're through the age 18. And so we're going to walk through all of this. This was May 24th. Title action, Kayla Rekieta and Nicholas Rekieta, emergency protective care hearing in the matter of the children. The court, I blocked that out, the case number. The above entitled matter came on before the Honorable Rodney Clay Hansen, judge of the district court in the Kandohai County Courthouse, Wilmar, Minnesota, in the 28th day of May. So this is May. It just got released, I think, that leaked yesterday or so. But we're just finding out, but it's back from May. So it's August now. It's August 2nd. And there we go. Let's check in on our Rumble chats. No Rumble chats. Okay, that sucks. The petitioner appeared through its attorney, Kristen Pierce, and Rachel Molesbury, Kandaho County Attorney's Office, The mother, Kayla Rekieta, appeared personally along with her attorney, and this is important, John Mueller, gives his address, don't care about that. The father, Nicholas Rekieta, appeared personally along with his attorney, Don Weber. Now, he's got a female attorney. Might be the big mistake already there. The child, blank, appeared. So it was the oldest child actually appeared in court. Okay. Christy Barber, guardian ad litem, appeared personally. So the guardian ad litem, those are basically an advocate, court-appointed attorney for the child. It's not the ones, remember, the kids can get their own attorney, which this one, I believe, did. Or is that the one for the child? I'm not sure. Also present, Alicia Sweep, social worker with Kandahai County and Human Services, former parents, foster parents, and paternal grandparents. There we go. Oops. There we go. Wherein the following proceedings duly had the court, this is the court talking now, we're going to go on the record this afternoon for an emergency protective care hearing. Remember, they had a previous hearing, and then they set it for this one, and then they have this, we'll talk about another hearing coming up, and maybe they already had it. I don't know, but we're waiting for that one. We're going to go on the record this afternoon, emergency protective court hearing. This is the matter of the welfare of the children. Kayla, say your last name for me. Miss Rekieta says Rekieta. The court. Rekieta, thank you. And Nicholas Rekieta, I apologize. Court filed, redacted that. Mr. Rekieta appears. He was presented by attorney Don Weber. Miss Rekieta appears. She was represented by attorney John Mueller. The guardian ad litem who's been assigned to this file is Christy Barber. Miss Barber appears. Also in the courtroom is Alicia Sweep. Remember, Alicia Sweep was someone that Nick had called out specifically, not in too nice of terms, okay? And she's the social worker on this case. The guardian ad litem who has been assigned to this file, also appears in the courtroom is Alicia Sweep. She is a Kandahai County Health and Human Services, which is petitioning agency. So the Alicia Sweep, she's the one that's doing this on the behalf of the kids. So she says, with the Kandahai County Attorney's Office is Kristen Pierce. I'm sorry, it's hard to read this. And Rachel Molesbury, each an assistant Kandahai County attorney. The record should reflect that the Rekieta's oldest child, blank, you are blank, blank nods his head, or her head. Child nods his head. The court, all right, in addition, at least I understand it, the courtroom today are both maternal grandparents and paternal grandparents. Remember, they said there were the foster parents, and then they said the paternal grandparents. We can deduce immediately from that when they took record, and now they're breaking it out. The maternal grandparents appear to be the foster parents. Blank is of the 5 children, but the only one parent in the present in the courtroom. As I mentioned, the matter is set for an emergency protective care hearing. It is my understanding that the children were placed in protective emergency care following the execution of a search warrant and the arrest leading to an order and then leading to today's hearing. It is my understanding, this is all the judge talking, it is all my understanding that we will use this preliminary springboard, if we will, for the next hearing, which will be a combined admit, deny, and emergency protective care hearing. And I say that because it is advisory to provide all of the children who are 10 and older and has 2 other siblings at least 10 and eligible for a McKenna advice. That's the thing, the Minnesota statute that allows that advisory, which does a couple things. 1, it gives them the right to have an attorney appointed to them, and 2, their right to go to court and be present at court hearings. So the court will delay that until all 3 eligible children are present. I wasn't certain from the petition, which I read, so let me ask the parents. Are any of the 5 children eligible for membership in Native American tribe here? Minnesota or any other state or territory. Okay, and I've talked about that before. You have to, this checkbox stuff, because there's the federal government and the Welfare of Indians Act basically has precedent. So you have to determine, because if there were an Indian blood there and there was an issue, they will then, the tribes then have, the court specifically push that then the tribes have an input into this child's placement and well-being almost above and beyond what the court has. So you've got to check their boxes here. Rekieta, no, Your Honor. So he's not any Indian blood. It's interesting. The court, I don't know why I said interesting. Just maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. The court. Any objection? And by the way, that's Mr. Rekieta answering directly to the judge, which is fine. I will just tell you, in these cases, your client does not have to talk typically unless you, the attorney, gives them tells the court, I'm going to allow this to happen. So she spoke directly to Mr. Rekieta, which is fine. As the attorney, I would be answering for him And then if she is really specific and she wants to hear from him, I would possibly let him answer. Just throwing that out there. That's how I work. That's how you should work as an attorney. But Mr. Rekieta answers this question on his own. And we'll get into a little bit more why I'm even making this as an issue right now, because it plays later on, and it really just accentuates the ego of Mr. Rekieta. Any objection to the court then finding that the Indian Child Welfare Act is not applicable to these proceedings? No objection from Mr. Weber. No objection from Mr. Mueller. Mr. Mueller is Ms. Rekieta's attorney. And Ms. Molesbury says no objection. The court, all right, the court will make that finding. I've reviewed the petition. There is a prima facie showing, and that means just on its face, that's what it means, showing that the petition does establish that a juvenile protective matter exists and that all 5 children are subject to that petition. It's basically just a statute that says drugs were found in the children's house, residence. I think that's the part that they're using, and that based on that there is a presumption on its face that the court should have jurisdiction over this and take matters into its own hands, it basically. It further alleges that the children's health, safety, and welfare would be immediately endangered should they return home at this time, and that care, custody, and control should be temporarily placed with the Kandahoa County Health and Human Services. With that, both parents are asking that the matter get continued up to 10 days. Mr. Mueller, correct, Your Honor. The thought is combined, as you know, with the admit deny at 9:45 on June 4th. So that already happened. We don't know what happened there. The court, all right. And the purpose of continuing it then would be to protect the rights of the parents at this point? Correct. Does the agency, that's Mr. Mueller, that's Kayla's attorney, the court, does the agency object to continuing this out? Ms. Pierce, as long as the children remain in protective care, Your Honor, the county has no objection. And then the court says, Ms. Barber, no objection as long as the children remain in care. So they don't want to return to the parents. Now there's going to be more here. The court, all right. So you answered my next question, I think. Is it in the children's best interest to remain in protective care at this time? Ms. Barber said, yes, Your Honor. The court, all right. Ms. Weber, any objection to the court granting a continuance with the notion that they will remain in out of home placement pending the hearing? Ms. Weber, no objection. We just are asking, Mrs. Weber says, we've got kids that are older, and they should be having some access to their parents. If not in person, certainly Zoom and phone calls would be appropriate. The court says, it is my understanding the children are, well, before I go there, Mr. Mueller, is there any objection? Mr. Mueller says no. The court, all right. So it's my understanding the children are with the maternal grandparents. Can the maternal grandparents supervise contact for the children? Is there an objection to that? Okay, so first of all, let's just understand this. This is very typical. Shit goes on. You are determined on an emergency basis. Shouldn't be watching the kids alone. You shouldn't have access. Now, kids test positive for cocaine. That's probably reasonable, right? But the court's going to do this until we get further along, and that's their prerogative to do so. And I've talked about this before. That could be done with an agency. It's a professional, hermetically, sealed type of situation where you come in. It's an agency. It's social workers there. They bring the kids in. Then the parents could come in, and those people are monitoring the activity. They are monitoring the conversations. They're giving a report on all this to the court or CPS or whomever, and you have that situation. Now, it will also be where they say, look, family should be able to do this. Family, watch them instead. They can supervise them, and that's perfectly fine. I've talked about that before, where we had the grandmother of the children, and my client, it was his mom, and they asked, would you turn in your kids? Are you going to make sure that the kids are more paramount, their issues and their safety over your own son? And she said yes. Matter of fact, she had called the cops on him once for having drugs in the house. So the judge is like, solid, you're good for us. That's really what they're talking about. Let's keep going here. Yes, Your Honor. All right. What is it? Can the maternal grandparents supervise contact for the children? That's what the court said. Is there an objection to that? And Ms. Pierce says, the county attorney, yes, Your Honor. The court, all right, what is the agency proposing as far as supervised visitation? Okay. Ms. Pierce says, Your Honor, we're requesting that there be supervised visitation at Harmony Visitation Center. That's one of the facilities, professional. And until that can get set up, that there be supervised in-person visits at the agency. I don't have an objection to phone calls or Zoom. That could be supervised by the foster parents or maternal grandparents, the court. All right. Is the agency at this point able to share with the court why the maternal grandparents cannot supervise visitation? Ms. Pierce says, I'm sorry, the paternal? The court, maternal. Your Honor, we just have some concerns that both sets of grandparents, here we go, here's the killer, were in the home the week before the removal. And that while there are some concerns that there, until we have drug testing and can verify sobriety, that we would want someone that is more vetted in identifying these symptoms to be supervising these visits. The court. So, in essence, twofold. One, vetting, and two, some educational protocol. Is that fair? Ms. Pierce, that's fair. Okay. Ms. Barber, the guardian's position. Ms. Barber says, I would recommend that the parties utilize Harmony Visitation Center or the agency at the time for supervised visits until I've had time to begin my investigation and interview the children and meet with all the parties. The court. Is it fair that the agency with the guardian ad litem's approval or opinion as to the children's best interest could make a trajectory to less restrictive visitation than Harmony without a court order? Ms. Barber. So basically the court's inquiring here, look, this is kind of restrictive, and the court will talk about it a little bit more. Do we have to come back and get a court order? Are you going to be holding so steady on this that you don't want the grandparents to be supervising them, that we're going to have to come back for a court order? Can you just do it by an agreement and basically you doing it? Ms. Barber says, yes, that's true. I would ask that, Your Honor. Okay, so I could qualify Harmony Visitation, at least in your eyes, to start there and move it forward. As the agency, you know more. Ms. Barber says, yes, because the court indicated we do have older children here. I believe the youngest is upwards of is 6, upwards to teenagers. And so we could put forth a trajectory in consultation as we get a few of those limitations underway. I would ask certainly, though, that releases be signed to the agency so that they can put forth the efforts to put that into place. I know Harmony Visitation Center requires a signed release. The court says, Mr. Mueller, anything in addition? Mr. Mueller says, I would ask that the releases need to be signed by the parents to get prepared, and they go through them and sign them before they leave the building, and that the vetting of the grandparents do it as quickly as possible. That's all I've got. And then the court, Ms. Weber says, Your Honor, Mr. Rekieta indicates that the current foster care providers are licensed. They've been licensed for 30 years. Okay, so that's Mr. Rekieta's attorney. Let's turn over here. Let's turn over here and just see what the chat is saying with all this. JC returns here and says, I spent half the day giving credit to Rittenhouse for endorsing Ron Paul, then the rest of the afternoon taking it back when he pussed out. Oh, did he really puss out? I didn't hear all that. Damn kids know how to party. Yeah, the Coke one. I prefer my legal team to be male and preferably Jewish. Well, I'm male, but I'm not Jewish. Natasha says, so did he mention possible positive drug test results for a child before results were back? Hang on. We'll talk about the drug test there, Natasha. Thanks for coming in. Well, that's weird. Dwayne says, hi, guys. Moonchild Pink says, hello. Dwayne says, it's hard for me to imagine trying to explain this crap to your kids, especially in a supervised situation. Okay, let's talk about that just a tad bit. One, the 16-year-old is in court. So the hearing things going in. And I've talked about this before. That to me is maybe the worst thing. You've got, okay, so Barnes is protecting you, whatever. You've got me, you've got other assholes like us on the internet dumping on Rekieta. Who cares? But your 16-year-old son, man, that is rough. I mean, someone who has an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, a 21, and a 24-year-old, it is, you like to be seen as this good person and this protector and the one that they come to for the decision making. And now you've got a 16-year-old going like, Am I the one trying to keep this ship together? What's going on? Yeah, so that's a bit rough in my estimation. But we'll get to the drug stuff here. Just take a breath. So, Mr. Where were we at here? Where did we stop here? Moving forward, the agency. Okay, so Ms. Weber says, Your Honor, Mr. Rekieta indicates that the current foster care providers are licensed. They've been licensed for 30 years. Then Nick decides, you know what? I'm just going to talk. And he goes, I don't believe they're currently licensed, but they have been licensed foster care providers for quite some time, over 30 years, I believe. They have plenty of experience dealing with, and move it forward as the agents. Oh, wait, did it not go there? Oh, there we go. Facilitating visitation of the children and not only relatives, but foreign placements. But so that's just basically they're foster parents for people other than their own relatives. Also, I would like to indicate that the petition drafted by the county itself indicates that the children were in no. This is where this dude. Why is his attorney allowing him to talk? And two, why is he talking? He shouldn't be doing this because he goes on. I'd like to indicate that the petition drafted by the county itself indicates that the children were in no knowledge of any drugs being used in the house and are not aware of any use. And any testing of the children that would result in drug use, according to the children, would be because of secondary exposure from some other source. So now he's trying to, I mean, okay, one, shut up. You should not be talking. And the fact that his attorney isn't butting in here, I mean, I would, as soon as he's done talking about the grandparents, that they have this ability. Now he's going on these other drug-laced problems. It's his hubris involved. He's attorney extraordinaire. But as his attorney, I would just be like, yeah, Your Honor, and I would not let him talk anymore. And I would butt in and say, you know, we're going to be dealing with this at another time. Because now everything he says here can and will be used against him because this is a civil case. He's got the criminal case. And plus, it's just not good to be saying this kind of shit. Okay. I don't know what his point is. I understand the county's position is to try to attempt to facilitate the safest visitation for the children, but there is no indication other than simply a statute that these children have ever been in a statute. So he's like, yeah, the statute that says, you know, look, if the kids' parents are doing coke, you got to take the kids away. It's just a statute that says it. You know, there's another statute that says you can't murder people. It's just a statute. Okay, good try, Nick. But there's no indication other than simply a statute that these children have ever been in danger of exposure to any substance or that their parents have been under the influence of any substance around or while providing care. Now, once again, Nick denied the ability to for the court to get his drug tests. He wouldn't release those. So he's making these claims. Their parents are sober, but you know the actual results haven't. So, Your Honor, I would just like to ask that the very minimum we go ahead and we go with your initial suggestion that the maternal grandparents who are currently providing care be offered the visit or be allowed to facilitate supervision and visitation. We have not done anything to not cooperate with the county other than to assert our rights to request counsel before answering any questions and before submitting to any testing. Okay, so we've done everything except for everything. And I'm not telling him, I'm not saying as an attorney, you know, you don't necessarily, dude was probably laced when his test results are probably not good. So hair follicle test, it's going to come out with something 90 days back. So there's going to be problems there. And I understand that, but don't go and then say you're cooperating, but because you have a right not to cooperate there, right? And you shouldn't. Okay, it's something that we had any opportunity to do given the Memorial Day weekend. Okay. The first time we spoke to county workers was at our home today around 1 p.m. Despite multiple attempts over the weekend and today starting at 9 p.m. to contact the county workers, I was unable to until they arrived at our house. When they arrived at our house, they found a house that was much cleaner. It says much cleaner than it was initially found. Okay, like, by the way, if you were to come into my house right now and then come in and we're going to clean it much cleaner, I don't know what the heck we would do to make this place much cleaner. My wife's clean. but it's not filthy in the first place. So it's hard to, how bad was it, right? When you arrived at my house, we found a house that was much cleaner than it initially found. We've been making immediate efforts now that the the school, it's hard to read, that the alcohol is finished. No, the school is finished, and go ahead and take care of the clutter in the home. We're not even requesting that the children be placed in our home during the continuance, but merely that visitation be supervised by people who are obviously qualified to provide the supervision, who are sitting in the room right over there and have done so for the decade in this county. Okay, now here's the problem, and you see this way too much in my position and probably everybody else's. The problem with family court is you a lot of times you can talk as a party, right? Nick, the argument here was visitation with the kids. He wants to see the kids without having to go to the facility. He wants the grandparents to do it. Completely understand. But you're still going to be able to see the kids. It's just going to be in this hermetically sealed, type of, and I say that just, it's a facility. It's just not conducive for this thing, but you're at least seeing your kids. His attorney made arguments based on what he was probably whispering in her ear. She couldn't hear everything because she's trying to listen to the judge, but Nick's all in her ear. The other attorneys had already agreed that the parent, and then the county attorney, the child guardian ad litem attorney, and the judge had all talked there about they needed to have vetting, which could be done pretty quick. The judge had already said we don't actually need to come back to court to get orders to have non-supervised visitation, but we need to make sure that the parents understand, one, what drug use looks like, how to see it, and we've had some things we need to go over with them. Okay, they need to do some, what they say, vetting and education. So they had to come about. I'm just sorry, I got distracted here. Yeah, it is hard to read, Dick, Ellen. So they had to, they already made decisions about what this testing, vetting and education for the grandparents really looks like. And it's simply, look, they're in the house. They weren't doing any protection before. They didn't notice, maybe they didn't notice what drug use is. They're around it too much. We're going to give them some help with this. And Nick wants to, no, my attorney did not make the great arguments. She did not stand on this soapbox and pontificate. She backed down too quickly. And you see this all the time. Sometimes you have to understand, as you're an attorney in front of these people, you often understand these judges. You often understand their initial decisions and what's going to happen. I assume that she saw it's not going to be any good for me to continue down this route. I could keep going down there, but it's a simple thing of, we've got the judge, we're going to do this, and you'll see this in just a bit. But Nick can't handle that, so he has to now interject and make arguments that are going to go nowhere. And all he did was put his foot in his mouth and talk about drugs in the house, how we've been so, great, and we've been very helpful, but we're not releasing our drug tests. We're not doing this. We're not, which you have a right to do, but then don't act like you are the ones being put upon when you put yourself in this situation, quite literally. Okay. Now the court says, okay, so, and are sitting in this room right over there and have done so much for decades in this county. And the court says, in this county? And Mr. Rekieta said, in this county, Your Honor. Wow. He's like, I got it now. And the court's like, Ms. Sweep, what's the agency timetable to get through the vetting process to provide education to supervise as to use recognition? Once again, the judge wasn't convinced with this, but the judge is like, I get it, okay? And we're going to go on here a little bit, but you're going to get this process done that they need to do. Ms. Sweep, I would say we'd need to look at doing a satisfactory meeting within the depending on the, okay, how come it's not going? Do I need to be in there? There we go. Cooperation of the parents within the next week or so. The court, okay, that's longer than I anticipated. Why can't it be done this week? Okay, the judge is being reasonable here. Is it due to Nick's persuasive arguments, or was this something that would have been thought about in the first place? Because the judge didn't change his mind, right? There's still, nothing's changed here, except for that Nick talked about the drug use and the other stuff. Okay, that's longer than I anticipated. What can we get it done this week? Ms. Sweep said it is a very active investigation that is in the early stages in regards to the agency learning who's had knowledge of use and drugs in the home, who's been notified of use of drugs in the home, and the education behind how to look for the use and being under the influence. Court. All right. What's our date for admit denied? June 6th. So it's already happened, by the way. Yeah, a week from Thursday, the court will grant the parents' request for a continuance, given there is a prima facie showing from the petition that it would protect the rights of both parents to continue the matter. It provides the parties additional time for the safety planning. The court takes notice that the holiday weekend put this at a standstill since the arrest on Thursday. The court will also find that the agency was unable and has demonstrated by the petition that given the particular circumstances of the children's removal from the home, that there were no services or efforts available which would have allowed the children to stay in the home at the time. In particular, both of the parents were arrested, and that out-of-home placement and emergency of home placement was necessary. Currently, the proposed April got put in jail as well, so she couldn't stay there. And by the way, she's been now charged with cocaine possession as well. I think initially they didn't arrest her because they wanted to kind of use her, and she said, I'm just a random person in the home. It's, you're talking about people that are drug dens here. And then Michaela and Nick both, conflicting comments, but Michaela's like, no, she's like living nanny. She's like lives here all the time. She's boinking my husband. And now they're going out in the town doing anything. And then the police are like, okay, well, you're not going to turn on them, so we're going to just charge your ass. And there you go. I would push this matter a bit harder, because I take a personal view that the Harmony Visitation Center or visitation at an agency is artificial at best and not appropriate for older children. Completely agree. If you have a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, that works pretty well with the toys. Other older children, it does not. For now, I will utilize that as supervised visitation, but ask that the agency come up with a safety plan as soon as possible, and certainly prior to the June 4, like I said, it's already happened, as an alternative for the supervised parenting with family members, preferably, or if not, someone who the family can agree upon, and some safety planning. Once again, it's best, and the judge recognizes this, and I do like that the judge says, look, it would be best to have someone that the kids know, someone that the family knows, and they feel comfortable, but this person also has to make sure that they are not under the thumb. You're not going to have April, as an example, as the person. Now, paternal grandparents, most disturbing part for me reading this is that they've been in the home, and that somehow, unless they were part of the reporting to the mandated reporter, which was the pastor. And we'll continue to the June 4 at 9:45. Okay, yeah. At some point, the children will have an attorney available for them. The judge Malazan will provide the McKenna advisory. That's where the kids can get an attorney. Is there anything else for the record today, or anything I've probably forgot? Mr. Mueller, that's Michaela's attorney. There's one other item from the father and mother's perspective, Your Honor, likely just a type. Okay, so one of the daughters had the wrong spelling, wrong date of birth. Can we get you to spell that? They do it. Nick helps them. The mom says, she goes, she talked because it's a weird spelling, and she goes, and there's a A between the other and the other letter in da because I'm that mom. I'm like, oh, she's getting sassy in court. These people are annoying. That's just all there is to it. He drives that Mustang. She's that mom. Jesus Christ. Mr. Mueller, okay. The court reporter, could we get you to spell? Okay, so they go through this others. Is there any other? I don't think that there requires okay, there is some more stuff we want to talk about. All right. I might have to go to remind to use the date of birth. All right, thank you. Mr. Mueller, thanks. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Rekieta. Mr. Rekieta says, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Rekieta says, thank you, Your Honor. Oh, and then the judge says, oh, one other thing. I want to say on the record, I have given an admonition as to Zoom use at the arraignment hearing. That was immediately ignored, and we were published immediately. So the default in this case will be in person, since we've not done well with the use of Zoom. Ms. Weber says, it brings up the thought, if Judge Malagzan is our judge next week, is he going to be here, or do we have to go to him? I'm very concerned about that, folks, given that my client and what he does for a living. What does he do for a living? I don't know, snorts coke. There are people that I think are going to continue to try to disrupt these proceedings if the judge is by Zoom. The court says, yeah, it's a good point, honey. No, he didn't say it. Well taken, and we're working through that. I can tell you that neither the court nor court administration had any idea what was coming at them on Friday, right up in the time of the hearing. I think some people broke into the hearing, and they were on Zoom, and they made some comments. I think that's what he was talking about. I don't know if he's talking about the fact that it was published. I mean, come on. Miss Weber says, do you think that we've got everybody kind of got a taste of that, and we know there are some folks in that just, Cheryl, you're just kind of a gatekeeper, for example. I don't know what his attorney's even saying. Mr. Mueller says, well, we'll keep Mary up on that hearing on the 9th. Yeah. Miss Pierce says, I guess my suggestion would be that if Judge Melgason is by Zoom, then no one else is allowed to be by Zoom, right? Because that would need its special appearance by the court. Okay, the court. That was my thought as well. If sometimes I'm scheduled in Meeker County and 20 minutes later or 15 minutes later, I'm scheduled in Swift County, so the judge can be via Zoom, then everyone else is ordered to be in the courtroom just because of scheduling, or as they say in Europe, scheduling. So that might be the same case for different reasons. And then Mr. Rekieta pops in because he's not done for the day. And he says, Your Honor, in light of your admonition and your statement at my arraignment that any recording or broadcasting may be in contempt of court, if I have knowledge of someone in the state of Minnesota who would presumptively be under the jurisdiction of state who violated that order, what would the proper course? Should I bring that to the court by motion in my criminal trial to you? Should I refer that to Miss Pierce? What should I do in that case? I want to verify my information before I actually do make any accusations, but I have reasons to believe that someone in this state who's actually associated with the prosecution's case was one of the people who broadcast that hearing illegally. And I would like to make sure that that is brought to the attention of the court, Your Honor, specifically. So I think it's Aaron Amholt. I think that's who he's talking about. And Nick's basically trying to snitch. This is a guy who made his bones, made his living, hit this Rumble thing, snorted so much coke that he probably from his Rumble contract paid for it, from broadcasting court cases, live court cases, had issues with this. Now he's on the, just remember that when he goes out, and if you try, this is Eric July, trying to get people, their copyright shit taken down. I just hate that. I hate it. I'm not an IP guy as far as, I think it's not even a real thing. IP law, and then you've got this shit based in Rekieta doing this kind of stuff. The court says, I won't be assigned. And now the court's like, hey, buddy, I won't be assigned to the case. My involvement is probably done with that case, having the arraignment. Ms. Pierce, is that information your agency or your office wants? It should be provided to Judge Fisher. And then she's like, the only smart one here. Your Honor, we would not want that information directly. It could potentially bring up an ancillary action and make us a witness. We direct all information to, you can either provide it to law enforcement or to the assigned judge, which would be Judge Fisher. And also, snitches get stitches. Mr. Rekieta. All right, I'm not done talking. No, he didn't say. If I verify my findings, I will raise it with. Dude, shut up. Just shut up. In the court, all right, thank you. And that's the end of that hearing. Oof, that was rough. Okay, let's see what we got. Where did I leave off here? Oh boy, lots kids party. It's hard. Trump's team gave Kyle a stern talking to. In other words, they probably showed him his Fed file and told him. Or what if they basically said, we'll make better showing on let's do this. We'll make a better showing on 2A. Maybe that's what they're going to do. I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping so. Sorry, I'm just moving this shit around. Man, I need to work on this OBS shit. I can hear Nick say it's just bad government being mean. Yeah, exactly. On a wall says, and throw the tantrum when shown the warrant. Yeah, I want to see the footage, the body cam footage still. That's what we're missing. Okay, Dirty House was the maid's fault. It was. Is it ego that made Nick do so many things wrong, i.e. drug use on stream, warrant raid, talking about his case? I mean, look, I don't know what it is. I've said this over and over, and I've always had my trepidations. I enjoyed Nick, but there's always been something. I'm just a little, and I think he's a smart guy, right? But there's always something when you're not a practicing attorney, and then he's doing this, and he hasn't had much experience as an attorney. I know he's a smart guy, and he went to law school, and that's all this stuff, and da-da-da-da-da. But there's just something weird about this premise of what he's doing. And I'm fine with all the online attorneys, but some of them, I think it's Sean, that was one guy, even Legal Mindset, and some of these where they practice law, at least continually, doing this. You just have a different vibe to it. And sometimes I just wonder if Nick's just so full of shit, right? I mean, he just keeps pushing out this stuff. I mean, the house is a mess. The kids are drugged. You're going to see this at some point with the body cam. Okay. I know he can sign a consent and it can be released. So it is his ego. Nick's quick rise to YouTube fame and his anti-government stand made him feel untouchable. Definitely arrogance and ego. And by the way, I'm anti-government as well. You just got to be a little careful, right? A little careful with stuff. I just got here 1 to 10. How F is Nikki? Not yet. We don't really know. We don't really know exactly. This was back in the end of May. We're waiting for more. I'm not watching his videos that he went on. I know he went on Chrissy Mayer. He's doing some of his own streams. It's too cringe for me. So I'll wait for documents to come out. And there we go. I just can't understand how a lawyer who knows how the system works wouldn't play things by the book. Look, in his defense, it's an emotional issue, right? You're out there, you're in front of it, you're used to arguing for other people. I see this all the time. I have clients, you've got to talk to them about, depending on how the situation is going, how we're going to argue. Sometimes you just see a judge is not going to change, and you've already kind of said, but your client needs you to be saying something. So you're going to be, just was in court the other day, and opposing counsel actually did this. She's like, look, I could be making more arguments on this. Maybe you tell me how you think you're going to be ruling, and then I will decide if I'm going to be saying something. The judge kind of said something against, and then she said it out, which, it's fine. I use that tactic quite often as well. And the reason there is that your client knows that you're advocating, or if it's not useful, you're not going to waste everybody's time with this. So it's part of it. His problem is he's the client talking, and he didn't have an attorney that can actually do much. How much CPS work does this family lawyer have to deal with? A lot? Some? None at all? Who are you talking about? Me? If you're talking about me, some. I'm not a CPS attorney. I do, there's always cases that come in, there's a CPS issue. I either refer out or consult with a CPS attorney, but a lot of times the CPS cases stay in family court. They just a report and they issue it and they go there. There's other times where CPS goes to the juvenile court or the family welfare court, and that is the one that's, at least in California, is dealing with it, and it's outside the purview of divorce, custody issues. It's separate, right? Foster, those kind of things. So I don't deal with those specifically. A bad report comes out you with CPS. Maybe you're in a lot of trouble. I send you to a CPS attorney. Now, the ones he's talking about, I don't know who you're talking about here. If you're talking about the ones that he had, I don't know. It sounds like I don't know if he's using his criminal attorney or what he's got. Anyway, what did I miss? Exactly. Okay. So I'm almost done here, folks. Tyler's going through the details of the hearing so far. Pretty much what you'd expect. Okay. I appreciate that. I think that Nick may be a clinical narcissist. It's the only thing I can think of that explains his behavioral patterns. It's odd. Wait, did you answer my question? I think so. I think you, Natasha, I think you were asking about the drug use. I think we went there. The GPO is like the NRA. They exist to soften the blow, getting conservatives to forfeit away their rights. Meaningful gun control is being sold by the right. Yeah, it's great. Nick is ratting out his drug dealer to avoid jail. Yes. He mentioned kids' drug test results before they were back. Okay, there we go. So Natasha, he mentioned, hey, kids don't know about anything in the house, any drugs in the house. They're not aware of any drugs in the house. If they do come back positive, if they are tested positive for cocaine, because remember, he said before that there was bullshit results, it's not my fault. It's cross-contamination that they got somewhere else. Because mom and I, we're clean, right? We're not releasing our results, but we're clean. He has an attorney, right? Not representation. Yes, he had an attorney. Client should shut the F up. Yes. Nice to meet you all. I know. Do you know Nick at all? I do not know Nick at all. He's online, and I'm a family law attorney, and I thought I'd break this down a little bit for everybody. The 9-year-old cocaine clearly knows nothing about cocaine. Yeah. Okay, that's the wrap for the show. Once again, there's a different camera, different view. This camera, we've got a slideshow camera, Rumble chat. No one showed up to Rumble. There we go. And maybe we'll end with this video clip I did of Toad. Now, I do the production for Tower Gang. Maybe we'll go with this one. Production for Tower Gang. And there was this little clip of these Abby and David, these people on the spectrum. And then Clint said, hey, Toad, why don't you do something similar? And Toad did, and I took the effort to make it genius. So here you go.
I know David since high school.
Hi, I'm Devin. I have known Abby and David since season 1 and 2 of Love on the Spectrum US.
Hi, I'm Jenna, and I've known Abby since I was 10 years old. She's a really cool friend.
Hi, my name is Saborgarg. I know Abby and David since Love on the Spectrum.
Hi, my name is Ezra, and David and I have known each other for a long time, and Abby and I have known each other for a long time, and I'm happy to be one of their friends.
Hi, I'm Toad, and David and Abby are like the best supporters of my show, Tower Gang. It just feels really good to have friends.
Hi, I'm Spencer Hart, and I known Abby since she was a little girl.
That was a funny story. What I'm saying, like...
Okay, so I don't know what the point of that other than is to mock Toad, not the people on the spectrum on the show. Okay, everybody, let's see if we have any last things that came in here. Moonchicks, it came out this week that Nick and Kayla reported, revenge porn on Aaron M. Holte for sharing Kayla's nudes and the PD investigating. Just a crazy situation. Just to comment on that a little bit, when I was on Legal Mindset, he asked me, what do you think about this Aaron M. Holte guy? And I'm like, I didn't know much about him. It seems to me he's coming out trying to protect himself a bit. He's got a separate situation. All I'm going to say is he reminds me of kind of like the jailhouse snitch, or the other person that's on, your drug dealer that got caught with you, but you're the big case. And he'll say what he needs to kind of say to get his situation. I don't trust him. I don't really care. He's trying to say some things. And evidently he sent pictures trying to be all cool. And so now they're coming up. It's so stupid. A lot of crap people you're coming out here. I'm glad someone besides Sean covered this. I couldn't stand listening to him spurg while going over this. I'll have to check Sean's out. I saw it was like 2 hours. I'm not going to do 2 hours. By the way, if this comes out and you guys see more of this, we're going to plan on being here still for the Nick stuff. How come my soundboard's not working? This is disturbing. There it is. Okay. All right, so I'm done for the week. We'll talk to you guys next week. Let me know if there's a better time, you guys. I'm sorry. Two more. Let's go to these two. I'm wondering if Nick is trying to muddy the waters when it comes to using Aaron as a witness against himself. Quite possibly be the case. Yes. I've never been close to Nick. I'm close to Andrew Branca, Sean, potentially. So I don't want to be mean to Nick. Yeah. Only one of those I have a problem with, but I'm glad you joined in here, everybody. See you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe this show. We might do some. I have a trial next. I have a trial. This is a fascinating trial coming up on Thursday. It's a one-day trial. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. But until then, enjoy.
Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye, guys.
But she's back.
And now.
Chick-fil-A is completely overrated. It's not that good. I prefer Zaxby's. I prefer Popeyes.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. And I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
Should I vote for Dick Cheney on the Libertarian Party? Do I have an obligation to vote for Dick Cheney?
I would say so.
Yes.
Did it work for those people?
No, it never does. I mean, these people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but it might work for us.
That one dude was like, not a podcast. I can't find it anywhere. They don't have video.
Oh, yeah, Peter Janke. Yeah.
Yeah, I blocked him.
I'll do it. If he unblocks me,
He'll buy your shirt if you unblock him, Bert.
He's a wigger.
Yeah, nothing cooler than a 49-year-old wigger. I just started live streaming. Cut me some slack. I'm pretty high tech for a boomer. But anyways,
boomer.